In the latest news, blasts have been heard in Ukraine's two biggest cities amid a renewed push by Russian forces. Over the weekend, Moscow claimed to have gained control of Kharkiv before forces were pushed back by Ukraine's military, which said it had regained the country's second largest city. In the capital, Kiev, citizens took to underground bunkers to shelter from the assault. Others have made Molotov cocktails to prepare for fresh assaults, and volunteers were armed to defend the city against the Russian incursion. The Russian invasion could force as many as 4 million Ukrainians to flee their country, according to the UN, spawning one of the worst refugee crises in Europe in more than 70 years. Steve is on the Polish border with more on the situation there. Steve.
Yeah, well, Jeff, look, nobody knows the right number as well. Any estimate between 1 to 4 to 5 million has been thrown out there as well. Don't forget, even from 2014, from the action we've seen in Donbass, which has been an 8-year frozen conflict, to, of course, the annexation of Crimea, we've seen over 1 million Ukrainians displaced, many of them living here in Poland as well. I want to show you what the scene is here on the ground, 14 kilometres from the Polish-Ukraine border. We were down in Medica yesterday at the crossing point. That package is online. We'll try and bring you that later on as well. But now we're in Przemysl, which is literally 14 kilometres from the border. This is the first major transit point you get to. And I think it's important for our viewers who care about markets and economies and politics and all those other things, just see the human cost of what the action is at the moment. So I just want to take you through, if I can, and just show you what's going on here in Przemysl, where families are having their first main transit point when they've crossed the border, both being brought here by coach, being brought here as well by train as well. This is the first major city that those migrants will come to. We're seeing a lot of people coming, of course Ukrainians, but a lot of migrant workers also coming through. I just spoke to one gentleman, and if you want to hear a tragic story, I'll tell you this story now. He fled the war in Libya. He came to Ukraine for a new life. He was based in Sumy, which is just north of Kharkiv, where some of the most vicious fighting has been going on in this war as well. And I literally just spoke to him 2 minutes ago and said, "Where do you think you're going next?" He goes, "I don't know. Everywhere I go, it's just been a tale of tragedy as well." So from Libya to Kharkiv, he was going to try his luck at Germany, but he had a rucksack on his back, he had a bottle of water. Just puts it in perspective a little bit as well. I just want to show you the arrivals board here inside. You can see that the trains at the top coming in from Odessa. We are expecting a train later on this morning, or 12:32 coming in from Kiev, but you can see a lot of trains going in both directions. The departures board on the other side is talking about a lot of trains going back and forth. People, of course, the migrants here we're seeing, the refugees here we're seeing, tens, if not hundreds of thousands are coming through these transit points into Ukraine. Again, the numbers are enormous. As of yesterday, the UNHCR talked about 368,000 refugees have already crossed the borders into Slovakia, into Hungary, into Romania, into Moldova. Quite tragic as well, but most of them are coming through into Poland. 150,000 refugees have already come through. Everywhere I look here, lines and lines and lines of queues of people. I just want to show you just down here as well. This is a similar story absolutely everywhere we go. There are children, there are families who are, quite frankly, not knowing where they're going next. A lot of people outside with placards. We've had an amazing story outside just now from a gentleman from Estonia who'd come down from Tallinn with his colleague and a couple of vans and said, we're going to start transporting people back to Tallinn. But now they're thinking about doing something a lot more professional. They got their developers to work out an app in the last 72 hours where actually displaced people can work out where they want to go in Europe, where they're going to find their friends across the whole of Europe and put them in touch with transportation. Quite extraordinary situation as well. I'll see if I can get you through to a government point over here where they're trying to give out some information to people. Again, similar story. There's volunteers absolutely everywhere. You can see volunteers around me here in their bibs as well. But there's also a government support mechanism going on here as well. You can see here. There's literally just everyone coming in. They're trying to get information about friends, about family. The government has their own officials working on the ground here as well. Let's just try and get through to the platform as well in a few moments' time, Mike, as well, if we can, just to show you the actual transit point where a lot of people are coming in from as well. Again, people just don't know where they're going. There's the ticket office here working out where their route is now. Are they going to Germany? Are they going to go on to Warsaw and try and stay there as well? Again, Poland has put a lot of effort in place to try and facilitate, but obviously one country can't do anything. So we've heard from Ursula von der Leyen in the last 48 hours about how Europe is now going to allow 3 years of asylum to Ukrainians. 3 years, which is unprecedented in European history, without the need to file asylum papers. And here we are in a moment, the relative calm of the platform at the moment. Here we can see where the main trains come in. Just on my right here, and I'll just show you just over on the other side of the platforms here. We've got a bit of a Polish military, of course, in the background helping to facilitate. But Jeff, extraordinary situation here on the ground here in Przemysl, Poland. Again, I don't think I've ever seen anything like it in my 20 years covering for CNBC. Back to you.